I still remember the sound of his laughter. It wasn't the innocent giggle I used to love when he was little. No, this one was cruel. I was sitting in my small living room, cup of tea in hand, when I saw it. A clip of my own grandson, Ethan, on a live stream with millions of viewers. He was laughing, calling me a burden. He said, "Old people like her shouldn't live alone. They just suck the energy out of everyone." And the audience, they laughed. They clapped. They sent him hearts and emojis. I sat there frozen. My hands were shaking. I kept thinking, is this the same boy I raised? The boy I sang lullabies to when his mother left? I wanted to cry. But instead, I just turned the volume down and whispered to myself, "You've made your choice, Ethan. Now it's my turn." What he didn't know that night was that the burden he mocked on his show was also the very person who made him famous. And when I decided to speak, I made sure the whole world listened. You see, I wasn't always this quiet old lady sitting by the window. Once upon a time, I was a mother, a wife, and later, a grandmother who thought love could heal anything. My grandson, Ethan, came into my life when everything else was falling apart. His parents divorced when he was just 5. His father, my son, couldn't handle the pressure, and his mother disappeared into her own world, so it was me who picked up the pieces. I raised Ethan in this small, cozy house, filled with secondhand furniture and too many framed memories on the wall. He was a bright boy, curious, funny, always holding a camera. He'd film everything, from our breakfasts to our evening walks. Sometimes I'd tease him, "Ethan, one day you'll film the whole world." He'd grin and say, "And you'll be my star, Grandma." When he turned 16, he told me he wanted to start a YouTube channel. I didn't understand what that was at the time, but I could see the spark in his eyes. So I took my pension savings, the little I had put aside for emergencies, and bought him his first camera. He was so excited that day. He hugged me tighter than he ever had. For months, we filmed together. He'd make funny videos of me baking, telling old stories, or giving advice about life. Sometimes I'd call it Life Lessons with Grandma Jean. People loved it. The comments were full of hearts. They said, "Your grandma's adorable." And I remember feeling so proud, not for me, but for him. He was finally happy. And I thought, if this makes him smile, I'll do it forever. But fame is a strange thing. It doesn't arrive quietly. It changes people. Sometimes so slowly, you don't even notice until it's too late. At first, everything was beautiful. Ethan's videos took off, thousands, then millions of views. He got sponsorships, interviews, free trips. Everywhere he went, people recognized him. And I was proud. He'd call me on stage, hug me, thank me. He'd say, "This is my grandma, everyone. She's the reason I started all this." People would clap. Some even cried. But as the numbers grew, something in him started to change. The calls became less frequent. He stopped visiting as often. When I'd call to check in on him, he'd say, "Grandma, I'm busy. I'll call you later." Later never came. Then one day I saw his videos without me. He had a new style, mocking humor, edgy jokes, the kind that gets attention fast. He'd pretend to forget things, act weak and confused, and people laughed. One evening, I commented under one of his videos, "You've grown so much, Ethan. I'm proud of you." He deleted the comment, didn't reply. That night, I cried for the first time in years. Not because he ignored me, but because I could see he was slipping away from the boy I knew. The breaking point came a few months later. I was having tea with my neighbor when her granddaughter said, "Grandma, isn't that your friend's grandson? He's trending on TikTok." Curious, I opened my phone, and there he was. Ethan, sitting in a shiny studio, surrounded by other influencers. They were doing a live talk show. The topic, how to deal with toxic family. And then I heard it. He said, laughing, "You know what's the worst? Old people who live alone and still call you every day. They think we owe them something because they raised us. My grandma used to be like that. She wouldn't stop talking." Someone on the panel asked, "What did you do?" And he smirked and said, "I stopped picking up her calls. She'll get the message." The audience laughed. Millions were watching. I sat there feeling my heart twist. He was talking about me, the boy I raised, the child who once held my hand and said, "I'll never leave you, Grandma." I turned off the TV. For a long time, I just stared at the wall. And then I smiled. A small, sad smile. "You've forgotten who helped you stand, Ethan." But I haven't. You see, when Ethan started his channel, he was still a minor. I didn't understand much about online contracts, but one of his teachers suggested we register his content under a joint name, mine and his, so that no one could steal his work. So I signed as his guardian and co-creator. As his fame grew, I stayed quiet, but I received all the legal documents, the brand papers, the trademarks, everything. His manager probably assumed Gene R. was just an old name on the paperwork. They never bothered to remove it. So while Ethan was busy mocking me online, I legally owned 50% of everything that made him famous. His brand, his name, even the logo he used for his first video. Eva Zinni hum duo. For a while, I didn't do anything. I wanted to see if he'd remember me. If maybe, just maybe, he'd apologize. But he didn't. So when I received an invitation from a local TV network, the same one that aired his interviews, asking if I'd like to share a story about seniors in the digital age, I said yes. I said, but only if it's live. That day, I wore my best dress. The blue one Ethan always said made me look like a movie star. They set up the lights, the microphones. The host asked me, "So, Gene, I hear you've had quite a journey with technology." I smiled. "Oh yes," I said softly. "My grandson taught me everything I know." The audience chuckled. The host smiled. And then she showed a clip. Ethan's video, the one where he mocked me. The room went silent. I could feel every pair of eyes on me. I took a deep breath and said, "That young man is my grandson. I raised him after his parents left. I bought him his first camera. I stood behind him when no one else did. And while he mocked me for being a burden, he forgot that I am the co-founder of everything he owns. There was an audible gasp. I looked into the camera, directly into it. "Ethan," I said, "you built your career on my laughter, my stories, my face, and tonight, I'm reclaiming what's mine." The host tried to change the subject, but it was too late. The internet exploded. Within hours, the clip went viral. Sponsors dropped him, fans demanded answers, and for the first time I saw him cry on his own live stream. He said, "Grandma, please, please talk to me."